Most people check their bank account and feel behind. The number isn't where they thought it would be. They're doing everything right. Or at least, everything they were told to do. They're not buying Lamborghini S. They're not gambling on crypto at 2 a.m. And yet, the account sits there, stubbornly flat, like it's mocking them. So they assume the answer is obvious. They're failing. Here's the thing. That assumption is almost always wrong. Because wealth and a bank account balance are two entirely different things. One is a snapshot. The other is a trajectory. And your bank account, specifically your bank account, might be the single worst instrument ever invented for measuring which direction you're actually moving. This video is about the signals that most people miss, the ones that don't show up on a balance sheet, the ones that don't feel like progress, but mathematically, structurally, almost inevitably are. We're going to go through 7 of them, and at least 2 of them are going to make you genuinely rethink the last few years of your financial life. Let's start with sign 1. You're spending less than you earn, consistently, and you barely notice. Now I know how that sounds. Obvious, almost insultingly simple. But stay with me for a second, because the mechanism underneath this is not obvious at all. There's a concept in behavioral economics called lifestyle creep. The idea is simple. As people earn more, they spend more. Almost automatically, almost unconsciously. The apartment gets bigger. The restaurants get better. The car becomes slightly less embarrassing at every salary increase. Studies suggest that the average American who gets a raise absorbs somewhere around 90 cents of every new dollar directly into their cost of living within 18 months. Not because they're irresponsible, because that's just what humans do when money arrives. So if you are in the minority, and it is a minority, of people who have managed to keep their expenses relatively stable even as their income has grown, or who live genuinely below their means without it feeling like deprivation, that gap, however small, is where all wealth begins. It doesn't matter if it's $200 a month or $2,000. The fact that the gap exists, and that it exists consistently, means something is accumulating somewhere. It may not look like much, but the bank account balance isn't the point. The habit is the point. The habit is almost impossible to replicate once you've lost it, and almost unstoppable once you've built it. Sign 2. You've stopped trying to time the market. This one sounds like a surrender. It isn't. Here's what the research actually says. Dalbar, a financial research firm, has been tracking this for decades. The average equity fund investor, meaning a real human being making real decisions, has consistently underperformed the very funds they're invested in. Not by a little, by a lot. Sometimes by 3, 4, 5 percentage points a year. How is that possible? You invest in a fund. The fund goes up. You lose money relative to the fund. It's because people move. They panic in downturns and pull their money out. They get excited at peaks and pile back in. They watch CNBC and make decisions. And every time they move, they pay the tax on gains. They buy high. They sell low. And they miss the 10 best days of the decade, which, not coincidentally, tend to happen right after the 10 worst days. The days everyone is most terrified. If you have reached a place where you're automating your investments, ignoring the noise, and genuinely not checking your portfolio every time the market sneezes, that is not complacency. That is a financial skill that the majority of professional active fund managers cannot demonstrate at scale. Boredom in investing is almost always a feature. The people who got rich in the market mostly did it by doing very little, very consistently, for a very long time. The people who tried to be clever largely did not. Sign 3. Your biggest asset is getting more valuable while you sleep. This is where it gets interesting. If you own a home with a mortgage, or have equity in real estate, or hold index funds in a tax-advantaged account, there is a number that changes every single day that has nothing to do with your bank account. You didn't earn it. You didn't do anything for it. It just moved. The S&P 500 has returned, on average, somewhere between 9 and 10% annually over the long run, not every year. Some years it falls 30%. Some years it doubles. But the average over decades has held. What that means, practically, is this. If you have $50,000 invested in a broad index and you never touch it, never add to it, never look at it, in 20 years at that historical average, you're looking at something close to $300,000.